Today's webinar. My name is Garrett McGilvery. I will be leading it today. The topic of today's webinar is determining the right job for you. It is something that I stress a lot when I'm talking to individuals that are undergoing the career counseling process. That being that they have to really know where they're going, because you have to be able to determine where you're going. And once you know that, you can actively prepare on how to get there. In terms of today's webinar itself, it'll be approximately 15 minutes in length with about 5 to 10 minutes worth of Q&A afterwards. If you at any time you do have a question, please enter it into the chat box that is associated with this webinar function for those on PC. It is on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And for those that are on mobile, there should be a pop-up button that will allow you to put in a question through the chat. So without further ado, again, thank you all for coming today. We're just getting started. So the one thing that is probably the most important that you can do when you are hunting for a career and or a job is to truly understand where it is that you want to go. Now, this is an ominous task for a lot of individuals because for the most part, you just don't have enough information about what that end goal might be, in the sense that you know that you might want to get into finance and you're going to give it a shot being an analyst, or you might be doing something maybe in sales or something along those lines. And that's okay. A lot of times it is more general when you're looking for a career level option just coming straight out of school. A lot of people are just more so focused on what kind of job they can get. Some people end up just slotting themselves in whatever job that they can get and then taking a career from there. But the one thing that I advise is really just taking a step back, even if it is more hypothetical and less real, is to actually create yourself a mini career roadmap. With that being said, is to truly understand where it is that you want to be, what it is that you want to do. And this includes what industries that you might be interested in, as well as the different types of positions that are associated with it. So not everybody wants to be a financial analyst for, say, the rest of their life, or, an engineering intern, but what it is that you want to do. So if you're in engineering, do you have a fancy of building bridges or operating heavy equipment, or driving trains, or dealing with those types of things, or building buildings? If you're in finance, are you interested in real estate? Are you interested in the stock market? Are you interested in any other type of industry that might be out there, from consulting to education to healthcare? By understanding what industries are out there and what are applicable to the field that you're in. So for, say, Bachelor of Commerce individuals, you're obviously looking for a business-based job. And once you've understood that, is to really proactively go out there and research. Once you're doing research on those different types of job roles that are out there, you're not only amplifying your ability to network and drum up some other skills such as initiative and stuff like that, but you're honing in on what it is that you in fact want to do. Because the more research you do up front, the more understanding of the requirements of the job it is that you're in fact looking for, the easier of a time it is going to be for you to actually get it and get there. Because if you're looking to go into consulting, then there might be a number of designations that you might be looking for, that you might be looking to get, and really understanding those up front so that you don't spin your wheels in a job that might not qualify for the experience for the designation or the additional accreditation, such as like the CFA or the CPA or something like that, and you being in a role that doesn't apply to that. Because a lot of individuals, unfortunately, take jobs or take career paths simply because they're the first thing that came down the line, but they might have waited an additional month and then gotten a relevant job for their own, in fact, job experience. So that's why I really stress the career roadmap, and that's really understanding where it is that you want to go, what industries that you want to be in, what different types of positions that are in fact there. Because when you're doing this research on the industry and on the positions themselves, you can understand how busy that particular industry is, or how difficult it might be to crack into. Because if you're looking to go into the world of, say, investment banking or consulting, there's going to be significant bouts of competition, and therefore you need to prepare for that. Because if you're not as well prepared as, say, some other individuals, it's going to be significantly harder for you to be able to get those jobs and get into those companies. But by having a clear understanding of where you're going and where you want to go, and understanding the market conditions for those types of careers, you can really prepare yourself to the best possible degree by networking, upgrading your skills, by participating in third-party functions, or organizing events, or joining committees, whatever that might be, but doing it in a strategic way so that it can maximize the synergies between your skills and the type of job that you're looking for. So breaching that, I sort of generalized the topic briefly with that first slide. Going into this, it really is just researching that job market, because say you do have an understanding of a few different types of career paths that you might want. It's really researching and understanding what type of opportunities are out there for those different types of jobs. Because there's a lot of positions that are incredibly high in demand that might not be apparent to an individual coming out of university. Speaking from personal experience, when I was coming out of university well over maybe 12 years ago, I was an accounting student, and I was coming out of school. I was looking to do my CPA, and I was looking to go work at a Big Four firm. One in particular was Deloitte. But coming out of school, I was talking to some individuals, and I didn't truly know where my career path effectively led. But by networking and speaking with individuals that about different types of industries, different types of careers, I knew that I wanted to be in finance. I knew I wasn't so particularly keen on accounting, but upon researching all the different options out there, I thought that real estate ended up being one of the main prime things that I'd be interested in. So that being said, real estate ended up being an incredibly lucrative base position. It was very closely tied to investment banking, but just subsectored on the real estate asset class. But I was able to get a job no problem, because not a lot of individuals in the market that I was in was honed in on real estate, and therefore it was a very in-demand job. So therefore it was a little easier to get into a higher level position right off the bat than otherwise. So that's why I'm trying to say that understanding and researching the job market that you're in is probably one of the most important things that you can do to really give yourself a good head start. And that comes from basically any other type of career path that you're looking for, from computer science to engineering to business. If you say for in Canada, if you're looking for computer science based jobs, Waterloo region might be a very high in demand one, because they have a significant tech capital there, the Silicon Valley of the North, as they like to call it. If you're looking to get into banking or consulting, obviously Toronto might be a good location for you. For video gaming or anything along those lines, Montreal has a huge hub because of some major corporations that are there. Even for international trade or engineering, Vancouver and Victoria end up having significant opportunities in terms of the jobs and the companies that are in those areas. If you have the luxury to traveling to the epicenters of those businesses will give you the utmost leg up when you're starting your career search. And that's why you have to understand the markets. You have to understand what types of industries are out there. You got to understand what's going on in those markets, so that you can make an educated decision to, right off the bat, without working on your skills, without working anything else, you can amplify your chances of getting a job by anywhere from like 2 to 10 times by just going to the right space at the right time. So by doing that research, you can understand where is that right place for the different types of careers that you're looking for, and planting yourself there to just instantly give yourself a flying head start. So in addition to researching the job market, which again, those are things that you can do online by just simply reading the news, staying on top of where the companies are and where business is being done in the form of, whether or science is being done, whatever those types of things might be. networking is the follow-up for that, because after you've determined where the market is and understood it, you have your career path in place, you got to go out there and network. Okay, you have to get out there, you have to speak to people, you have to understand what types of positions, what type of opportunities are in fact out there. And this doesn't mean that you have to solely network with individuals that are on the lower rung of the corporate ladder. By going in there and aggressively reaching out to the individuals that are mid management or higher, especially when you are already a student, because if you're already a student, they will be more prone to respond to you and reach out to you, because they will be more than happy to look out and help an individual that is recently coming out of school by sharing their knowledge, because a lot of individuals like to help other people, and especially students. Like, students are get a bonus point of receptivity from individuals that are in those higher level positions, because they understand how difficult it is and they want to help you. And that doesn't mean that everybody will respond back to you when you are actively reaching out to individuals to try to network, but that's okay. It's a game of numbers at that point, especially when you're planting yourselves in bigger markets like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver. There are a lot of different individuals that are out there that you can reach out to and talk to. So if you do in fact choose, say, the consumer goods industry or the consulting industry or the construction industry even, you got to network with the people that might be even in charge of the firms or even the owners of the company. So you can pick smaller and mid-sized ones. That'll obviously be tougher to get the ownership of a large-scale corporation, but those smaller mid-tier firms, like, those guys have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of connections, and they have a lot of experience in the field itself. So just going out and speaking with them, whether it be a phone call or coffee chat, whatever that might be, getting out there and speaking with those individuals and learning about that industry on a first-hand basis will give you that opportunity to truly understand what the job entails, because for the most part, people don't know what the job is about until they're actually in fact doing it. This will at least give you a bit of an inside edge in terms of what it is expected in the job and what that culture and environment is really like. Because even when I first started in real estate back in the day, I didn't know what the job market was. And I started at a secondary market. I did it in Ottawa. That's the nation's capital. I believe there's like 1 million people there. I've since moved to Toronto, obviously a significantly bigger market when I was in the real estate business. But you learn by speaking to the people that are actively doing it, and therefore you can understand the position that you want to go. From a personal angle, I knew that I wanted to incorporate real estate technology, so that's when I ended up meeting up with some like-minded individuals and started a real estate technology-based private equity firm. To that end, you have to get out and speak to these individuals so that you can get those insights, get that raw knowledge from the market itself, straight from the horse's mouth, from the people that are actively on the ground and working things. Now, in addition to networking, this is just a side hustle of it. There are a lot of opportunities for you to gain a mentor. These mentors are individuals that are currently in the job market itself and are presently very open to long-term relationship building with individuals that are looking to grow within this sphere themselves. Most schools offer mentorship programs, and these are things that are definitely a great thing to take advantage of. Whatever school it might be. Me personally, I'm a mentor at Carleton University. That's where I ended up doing my Bachelor of Commerce. I've helped a number of kids through that program that are looking to do entrepreneurial, real estate, or finance-based activities. But the amount of mentors that are available, even at a secondary school such as Carleton, is astounding, because there's probably over maybe 500 individuals that are open for mentorship, and from basically all walks of life, from the founder of Shopify to leading journalists that are maybe now retired. These are individuals that are putting themselves out there to actively be engaged with, that you can ask pretty much any question of, and two, they'll help you out. So taking advantage of a mentorship program, either at a school or even when you're building a relationship with an individual through networking, you might have, form a special kind of bond, and then you can even leverage that individual as a mentor as well. Former bosses are obviously good things, or even family members are also good mentors, especially when they're in a field that particularly interests you. But mentorship is a powerful thing, because when you enter into a mentorship and a mentee based relationship, these people are there for you. These people are willing to help you. They're willing to listen to you, and they're there to help you grow and to see things through. Um, they are very important to a lot of growth of individuals, especially if you want to grow at a faster rate. Because whenever you end up growing alone, in the sense that you are just actively going out there, building your career, gaining experience, there's a lot of things that you have to learn. And there's a lot of questions that you might have, but you might not have somebody to effectively communicate those questions with. But forming a relationship in a mentee mentor environment, that gives you that background, that billboard, of somebody that you can throw things at, and work problems through, from somebody that's more experienced and more connected. That concludes our webinar for today. As I said, it would be about 15 minutes. This one isn't particularly long, simply because most of the work when it comes to building a career map is really going out there, understanding the market and researching things, and being on top and in tune with what's happening right now and feeling the pulse of the market itself. So a lot of the onus is on the individuals by going out there, meeting with people that are currently doing exactly what it is that they think they might do and or might want to do, and reading the news, staying on top of current market information so that you yourself are well informed, and you can relay that information to those contacts that you might be networking with. Getting a mentor mentee relationship might not be as critical or as needed, but they're definitely good, and especially if your school offers it, whatever school might be. And again, there's a lot of associations that are online that have these things as well. But they are very helpful because they connect you with very well connected individuals that have a plethora of experience and connections. And the connections would be probably the most important, because they can connect you with individuals that you might not have otherwise known about or had access to. And therefore, you can simply reach out and connect and network and expand that network, gain more information, learn more, network more, and then perpetuate that cycle. If you keep doing that, that's how you live a long, healthy career and get to explore as many opportunities as you possibly can. Now that concludes the webinar in its fullest. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. Please put those in the chat now. In addition to this will be also posted on YouTube afterwards. So if anybody came late or missed a particular question, this should be posted on YouTube in a couple of days. I believe there will be an email going out on that front. All right. It doesn't look like there will be any questions for today, and that's okay. This particular subject is not as fancy as some of the other ones might be. I do still think this is incredibly important, because if you set yourself up right from the start, you're going to have a significantly easier time navigating through the job search and the career hunting than any other time. I have a question here. How can accounting in another country prepare the career in Canada? So I believe I take this by in the sense that if you are doing accounting in, say, a foreign country, how is the accounting equivalent for it here? You might not be learning the the formal skills of an accountant here in Canada, because the rules are different, especially for accounting, most especially for tax-based law, but it at least gets you the knowledge of understanding, obviously, the fundamentals like, debits and credits, utilizing Excel and a number of other online software programs, which are intrinsically valuable. Unfortunately, you only have about half the knowledge that's required for somebody in accounting here in Canada when you do it foreign. Um, but by reading up on those tax laws or accounting principles, whatever they might be, like IFRS and stuff like that, or Canadian GAAP principles, you can read up on that because those are all online. So you have the soft skills in the sense that you're analytical. You can do all the experience, all the stuff that you might need on Excel itself, but you have the opportunity to read about all those other principles that you might need, whatever it might be, whether you're going to auditing or tax. But you can read about the principles that would be applicable to you online, and you can demonstrate that in an interview-based environment because you can say, "Hey, look, I may not have done 3 years of experience under IFRS-based activities, but I've read about it, I understand it, and I have the capabilities of being an accountant, and I can change my mindset on those accounting principles." All right, if that is everything, I just want to thank you all again for coming. If you have enjoyed this, please like this, share it with your friends, however it might be. We have one more question, actually. What do accountants need to prepare if they want to switch industries, for example, from manufacturing to healthcare? Again, it depends on the type of accounting. If you're doing it from an auditing perspective, there's a lot of things that would be remaining the same, with exception of sort of the intrinsic notions of manufacturing and say healthcare in this particular example, because a lot of healthcare here runs for non-for-profit. So obviously, if you're going from manufacturing, which traditionally is for-profit, to non-for-profit, there's different guidelines for that. Obviously, in the United States, they have for-profit hospitals, but here in Canada, for the most part, they're non-for-profit for healthcare, at least hospitals and stuff like that. But for big pharma, those are obviously for profit. So for the sake of doing it at a hospital, you have to understand what sort of the non-for-profit regime is for the accounting principles. For the for-profit stuff, for the most part, it's not going to be too dissimilar. There's a lot of intricacies and inside knowledge that you need to learn about that industry itself, and that can be accomplished through networking ahead of time. Because again, if you talk to individuals and sort of are smart enough and you understand what those intricacies are about the healthcare industry, that might be different than manufacturing in that instance, because each business operates differently. They have different metrics. They have different ways that they do business. So in order to find out those ways you do business, you got to go talk to people, and that's where you can maybe talk to people that are sort of like lower down than mid-tier management, the people that are working in the jobs that you might want to actually get into, like say a senior accountant or an accounting manager or whatever that might be. But get in there, talk to those people, and so that you can understand that market and what's happening. A lot of From the accounting principles based perspective, a lot of those, again, all those principles that apply to, say, that are special principles that apply to specific industries are all online. You can find them online. You can research it. You can do your own due diligence on that front, so you can at least have the hardcore principles down pat from your perspective. In terms of the inside knowledge of how things work, that's how you do through network. All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for coming. Please share with all your friends if you like this. We have a webinar every week, 9 p.m. on Sunday. So if you haven't signed up for the next one, please do. I'm actually forgot what it is next week. It is, we're going to be going over how to create your career roadmap. So again, it's just backbone of this. This one was more of a brief overview on how to do research in the job market itself and some of the important things that you have to think about. Next week, we're just going to be specifically targeting that career roadmap, how to build it, what it should look like, and what you should add to it. All right, everybody, have a great night. Thank you again for coming. Take care.